should be fine. I don't know whether or not it's going to mute this music in the archive, but I wanted to listen to this because Exra had been listening to it. Which, if you are not following, not following Exra, you should follow Exra. He's actually streaming right now, I think. Yeah, he's streaming. Anyway, so you should follow Exra if you're not following him, because he's cool, and he has good taste in music, so I figured I would listen to some of what he was listening to the other day. But yeah, let me know if it's too loud, because I don't know. I don't usually listen to this kind of music on the stream. Alright, so we're going to do some puzzle designing, because that needs to happen. I actually have not gotten to work on the game this week so far. Hello, Vigardno. How are you doing? Apparently you have solved 250 puzzles. I'm not sure. I assume you mean in the witness? I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. But, these are basically my rough draft of the starting puzzles for this area. Definitely up through here is in. Then from here on out, it's kind of, yeah, it's not exactly guaranteed that I'm going to have these puzzles, so. But yeah, congratulations on solving a lot of puzzles. And I hope you're enjoying the game, of course. Oh, yeah. I figured that's who you were. But yeah, hopefully you're having fun with the game. Okay, so I think these work like, I'm trying to remember how to do all of these puzzles. Yeah, like that. This one's just a random thing that's here. It doesn't really need to be here. I was just testing out this symbol. Yeah. Well, hopefully nobody's like spoiling you on the game, so. And I'll try to keep chat spoilers to a minimum. Or my own speaking spoilers for that matter. I don't think I should probably have the stats on all the time, but anyway. I'm just going through these puzzles that I had here just to see, like, which ones I liked. Like, because these are all kind of variations on the same thing. This, and this. Oh, okay. Well, have a good one, Vigard, now. I'm glad you could stop in for a minute, anyway. I think this one was one I actually used the solution, brute force solution finder on. Actually, I have it wired up to right click, I think. Yeah. So this has 8 solutions, which all look like that. And so they're all pretty similar, so. But I don't remember how to actually solve it manually. I've spoiled myself slightly. I know it has something to do with this. Yeah, okay. But you can do that, I think, either. I think you can also do it this way. Yeah. There's not a real way I can prevent that little dummy tile from being there. But I like that puzzle. But I need to decide what's going on here after that. Like, what I do next exactly. Because like the intro puzzles are just sort of like this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether to put this first or this first. I kind of like putting this first and then do like... I can't do the same thing. I'm worried about these puzzles. I don't want them to be too easy, but I don't want them to be like too hard either. Because I'm trying to just introduce the concept, basically, of what's happening. Hello, Justy989. Hopefully you are doing well. What have you been up to? So I think that, I don't know, because I went like that. I had this one, which was like supposed to be basically that. Same kind of thing, just making it a little more complex. And then I went from there to one where you can't do that. And have to do that. And then I have like the tricky one where you can't do that, because that doesn't really work either. And so instead you have to do like this on that one. So that's kind of, I think I want that, and that. I don't know about this one. I know I put that in there for a reason, but so my concern was that you might not generalize that they can be grouped however, but I'm not sure how to introduce that without dampening kind of the ramp, like the impact of the particular puzzles that I have. Because like this one's only surprising kind of if you haven't done that one, but you can also solve this one and not really know why that's right. Oh yeah, selection. Oh gosh, just stretching. Are you doing it some kind of like box selection or just like picking type selection? Because I never got around to, on my own engine, doing like box selection. I just did like just basic picking, and just kind of didn't worry about that I couldn't select multiple things. Alright, so I just am not happy with this, but I shouldn't worry too much about the exact like starting set of puzzles, because those are kind of the hardest puzzles to design anyway. Those are like usually the last things that you can really figure out. Is the first puzzles in a set are like the hardest ones to figure out, because you kind of have to understand what you're doing pretty deeply okay. I thought it was like dropping a lot of frames, but yeah, box selection. So you just have to do a box overlap basically test on everything. You'd have to do a bounding box test probably. Like a bounding box test would probably work, and then if you need to do something fancier, then you can just check the, like, validate with the bounding box and then further validate that way. Like, that's probably fine unless you have a ton of objects. Okay, so, and I like this one, so I want to put that, like organizing these into, like, here's what's good and what's not is a little tough. Right now, these are kind of the specious panels that might not actually be in there. So I'm not sure what to do for the moment when I'm making these. Because I've kind of got those. So, like I said, I like up to here. I like all those puzzles. I feel like there needs to be a puzzle that's kind of intermediate between this guy and this one, because, like, I like this, but that's a little bit hard. It's like it's not the easiest thing, so. But I don't know what that intermediate thing should be. And my initial thought was just something like this, where you just have to kind of separate it into the twos that way, but that seems really easy. And something like this is a little trickier just because the shape requires you to think about stuff, because if you're not thinking about it much and you just kind of did like this, then you'd be like, oh, that doesn't work. So you do have to think about it a little bit more and be like, okay, well, how can I do this? But I haven't found, like, something at this level that's really interesting. And so I kind of was trying a bunch of variations on that, like this one and this one and this one and this one. This guy up here is just a junk panel right now, so I guess we can experiment using that one. So, I know doing some of my, like, trying to do the brute force testing, I couldn't find solutions on some of these panels. Like, I actually don't know whether this one will be able to. Okay, so the brute force solution thing does work. Like, you can cycle through, like, all the solutions that it finds. So, and then it gives me a count over here. So, like, that has 250 solutions. I can't hold the button and go through all of them, which kind of sucks, but that's fine. But I'm not too worried about looking at all solutions to a panel. I just kind of want to try to figure out what I can do that would be interesting. So if I do a panel without the disabled tiles, like I just do a big panel like this, those are, like, pretty easy to solve, generally. Now, something crazy like this is not easy to solve, but it's also not that fun to solve. It's kind of like just annoying. Like, I can probably solve this guy. Yeah. Anyway, it's, like, not that hard to solve a big random thing like that, but like I said, not that fun. There's nothing like this one here where this is, like, tricky because it's like, and it's I'm not sure if it's partly just because of how I set it up, because it's like I set this one up where you have to do that, and then I do one where you obviously can't do that or that, so you can't do anything like what you did before, so you have to split them that way. And then you can't split them this way because, like, that doesn't work, so there's no way to do that. And so you have to think about the fact that this side is dark and that's light in order to separate with a light square. So you have to do that half that way and half inverted. So it's it's interesting that way. And I think that's mostly because of the dead tiles. Whereas when I do one that's just like this, just like every tile is that way, it's not as interesting. It doesn't seem like there's as interesting of things there, because it's more the question of how you use those. I say dead tiles, but I mean empty tiles. But if I just do like this, like that's pretty simple. Like, I don't want to try my solution finder on that because it might throw up because the panel's pretty big. But yeah, I feel like I just don't feel like there's really much like that that's difficult. If I do this, something like this, for some reason I'm just drawn towards doing like patterns and seeing what that turns into. But I feel like that's just that, so it's pretty straightforward. If I'm gonna like make you connect them that way, you could do it that way, right? So it's possible for me to force you to like do a checkerboard of some kind, but hello, Mokasmo. How are you doing today? Wall of dots with one side. I'm not really sure what that means. You mean like wall of dots this way? With one side? One side odd. You mean like this kind of thing? One side odd. Or you just mean the size of the panel? Oh, okay. So if I make it like a 5x4 instead. Well, there's like two solutions to that, I guess. Well, I guess you're right. There's not two solutions. There is only one. It's true that it's not very exciting. But you're right about that it technically only has the one solution. Does my brute force solver find the solution? The brute force solver there doesn't like validate that the panel hasn't changed. Oh, well, there's two. Yeah, of course, because one's an inverse. No, yeah. No, it's fine just to make an observation about that. It's interesting. Now, if it's a wall of tiles with both sides odd, is that even solvable? Like, I don't think that is solvable, is it? I don't know. My brute force solver might just die because it's a 5x5, but if it doesn't, might have aborted. So it's not solvable. It's really the annoying thing, though, about having it early out and not tell me that it early outed. Because I do use the brute force solver sometimes, so it would be nice if I need to have an early out flag for that. And that should be fairly easy to add. That would just be like, where should I even put that? Somewhere where my list is, probably, I probably stick it right near the function that uses it. Let's see, that's a Q for that. This is just is solved. I think it's right here, solution list. Okay, so I need a did early out. False. So then we can go here into this and go did early out is true. And then oh, I guess it should have done that. Huge 10 by 11 wall of dots if I want to intimidate them. That's true. Let's see. Seems like it built that, so now I just need to go in here and on the find all solutions I need to add a thing here where I check if panel dot did early out of, let me do this way, of solution checking. I misspelled solution. So we do that. Okay, so that should work. I just need to change the name of this thing again to I must be calling find all solutions instead of solve. I don't know though. Did early out of solution checking. Let's see, so that should theoretically that should abort. I actually don't know though. Yeah, it aborts. Yeah. Alright, so that's good. So now I have a flag that tells me like whether that's like for certain. That's annoying when I'm resizing something if I gotta make it more than 10. I mean, I know I can use the dragger thing to resize, but it's annoying that like it goes to 1 and so I lose all that. It's gonna take a while to fill this up with 60s if I did that. I don't have a lot of actual click panels in the game that are very big. I don't usually make panels this big. I think this would just take a while to solve and it might not be that interesting, but I also need to set up a thing for editing these that makes it easier for me to add this stuff in there. instead of, let me just do this. So I don't have a way to like fill the whole panel with something or anything. I have a way to fill it with ones, but I should really just add a little box here that has like a number if I want to like fill a panel. Just doing this is like, I have to do it for, what is that, 110 times? You made me do this. I mean, it's a joke, I guess, but I don't know that it's like a super funny one because it's only funny because the solution's simple, right? At least it should be. Yeah. Let's see, so I should be able to do it just this way, right? Fill all input box. Yeah. Add to. I don't know why I have this check. Why I did this with a check instead of a button. I guess at the time I just was like, I don't know. Just do it with a check because it's easy. It's really dumb that I did that, but. Ugh. I feel like that's really, like, egregiously large. Like, I could feel like I could do an 8x9 and it would be big enough. In fact, I don't even know... If I did an 8x7. I wonder if that's too hard. That would be too hard for people. Like, if I threw that in right here, like, if you got to this point, it's like, alright, you understand enough to do this. Like, is that too much? Because it's really crazy. So I'm gonna try that, because I think I think that's big enough to be a really intimidating looking thing if you're just seeing a wall of dots. I almost don't know whether it needs the binary tree. I don't know whether it needs the I get it, binary tree, but because they're on and off anyway. I don't know whether it actually needs to be to where there's only one solution. Like, it might be okay if you can do either or on something like that. Like, if it was an 8x8, it might be reasonable even. Because then, like, if the person wants to do this, then they can do that, right? There's only like 4 solutions, I think, if it's this way, right? Like, you can do it horizontal, you can do it vertical, or you can do it, and you can do it inverted, right? That's me, like, leaning into the being aggressive type thing that I was, like, kind of shying away from here. I don't know. Because I was, like, trying some different type shapes here to try to make stuff that was a little bit tricky. If I went with any of these, I think this is probably the best one. Because it's, like, the one that requires the most actual active reasoning. But it still just doesn't feel surprising or tricky. But anyway, I'm going to take this guy, the big guy here, and we'll say that it's in the mix for now. Where was I putting the ones I was pulling out and just saying that I didn't necessarily want? I think I was putting them over here to the right. So we'll say that, and we'll say that gets out of the mix, and this guy's in the mix, and that's in the mix, and this guy's out of the mix, and that guy's out of the mix, and that guy's out of the mix, and this is just junk, so I'm not even going to worry about that because this was just me doodling. Yeah, I think that's kind of the thing I was thinking there, is like if I just do a big thing like that, where I'm trying to kind of force the player to realize, like, this is actually really simple and not hard to do if you understand, like, the basic principle here. I just don't know if I've actually built up to that yet. But I am trying to look for things that are in the gap between this guy here and this here, which requires that trickiness. And that only has, I think, like 4 solutions, and 2 of them are just like whether or not this tile is toggled. They're symmetrical, so it basically has 1 solution. So yeah, so I don't know. So let's look at this guy, because this is like solvable, but it's kind of just an ugly mess, and it doesn't feel more exciting to solve than anything else. Like, it's just kind of like going through the motions of solving something, of being like, okay, I gotta separate everything into sections and whatever, right? So and then I find it hard to solve when that happens. I'm really zoomed out here, aren't I? I need to, like, stay zoomed in. Because I sort of did this panel just basically drawing a shape, or like putting some random things down, solving it, adding some more dots, solving that. So I kind of did this in a very, like, top-down-y design type way. Still tricky to solve, though. Interestingly enough. It's actually pretty hard to partition some of these. This is just me trying to solve a puzzle that I know is solvable because I just solved it a minute ago. It's just hard to do. It's because there's just so many tiles. God. Feels pretty close. Just got 3 hanging around. There we go. God. So that's solvable, but it's really difficult, and it doesn't... I don't feel like I get a lot of insight out of it. It just feels like kind of flat. Feels like the same thing. So I don't really necessarily want to throw this panel away, but we'll put it aside for now and keep it around. So I got to figure out some more things in like this space that are good. I don't think there's enough dots here. No, there's enough dots. Isn't there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, there isn't. No idea whether this is even like solvable. And I'm sure Moximo will tell me before I can solve it that it's not solvable. There we go, it is solvable. Oh, so that one's tricky. But I'm not actually sure how insightful it was. Excuse me. Because I like ones like these ones where the solution's really simple and easy to understand and there's only one solution rather than ones that are kind of messy and I don't know, like I can see it's got 12 solutions, right? And they're all kind of a mess. It's a little tricky to solve, but so I'm not like totally like discounting doing those kind of puzzles. They just feel weird. They don't. I'm trying to think of even how to explain what it is about it that I don't particularly care for versus this one. I guess just the way in which like you utilize the space on the panel to do things is like not as interesting. Like, it's kind of like this, right? Where you can do it that way, or and it just kind of feels like there's so many things that don't matter. It doesn't feel very clean. And like partly the only thing that affects like the topology of like the puzzle is how many dots there are. It's not as affected by like shape as like the domino like dice face type puzzles are, where they're more affected by like just laying stuff out on the panel a certain way, or the size of the panel, or whatever. Like these are not as affected by that. So I'm struggling to find panels that seem like they shouldn't be doable but are doable, but you have to utilize something about it that you wouldn't normally think about. So that's tough. Like one of those basic things, basic type things that you can kind of force with panels is like that kind of thing where you might think, oh, well, maybe I got to connect those, and you're like, well, I can't really do that, and so you have to kind of connect into two separate things, right? And that's sort of what I'm doing here, right? Is like thinking about that. Or in the case of this, it's like I can't connect that, which is kind of what you'd think to do, and so you have to realize, oh, I can connect that from that way and that way, right? So, because like that and this are basically the same puzzle. There's like nothing there that is that tricky, but having to like separate the things by just drawing a line between two areas of the same type is kind of interesting. So, for example, I could do this here, right, and have that further, right? But that makes it easier, right, is the problem. Because then I have to have, like, I have to kind of lock more of them for that to be the case. Not those ones, though. Those ones are not the ones that I need to lock. Okay, so that's the solutions there. Well, these guys are easy. Alright, doing that. So, I don't know. Maybe there's no way I can do it short of just locking it that way. Why the solution validator thing is interesting, because you can just see like how many solutions are there and what are they really quickly when you make changes to the panel. Not toggle locked tiles. It's very strange. Seems like it doesn't not toggle the locked tiles, even though I'm pretty sure that it does. I'm pretty sure that solution finder checks. Yeah, it's supposed to check if it's not locked. So if it's like not locked and it's not disabled, then it does this. If it is, then it goes to the next tile. So it's supposed to just skip the tile. I'm not sure what's up with that. maybe it's fine. Maybe it is. It is actually not doing that. There's 36 solutions here. My gosh. Okay, so it doesn't reset to the starting state is one thing it doesn't do. Man, I'm feeling sleepy. That is no good. Because I'm just starting working. I think it's because it's so warm in here. It's like really warm in here. Not sure what to do. I'm gonna open the door to cool it off. Okay, so I may be like super glary now from the door. That should work. Okay. Oof. Sleepiness is not good. There's 250 solutions. Interesting, it's like top right indexed. Not sure why that is. I do something like that. It's pretty easy to solve. You can solve that way too. I just don't feel like there's a lot in this area of puzzles that are that particularly deep or surprising. Like at this level of complexity, I don't know that there is. Ugh, gosh. Neither of those are that surprising, so I don't know. Like I can just say, well, okay, we go from that to like this, and then to this, and then to this, and call that basically that section. And then we had these guys that were pretty interesting. I don't know why that has that. Must be the starting state of it is set that way. It is. I don't think it's supposed to be set that way from what I can recall. I think it's supposed to be off. 'Cause this one's like the one that's supposed to be done like this. So I like those, I remember. Ugh. Sorry, that seemed vaguely interesting to me. Oh, okay. That one's not terrible. I wonder if that only has that one solution. Oh, it's got some others. How many exactly does it have? 40. Something like that, and you're like, that's really tough. Then you're like, oh, it's got 40 solutions. Ugh. So if I put that there, how many does that have? 50. Well, made worse. Gosh, I just drink coffee and I'm like still wanting to go to sleep right now. I was also hoping to start working earlier today, but it didn't really work out that way. I'm not a huge fan of this panel, period. I'm gonna go look at my other panels that I've already done and see if something jogs my mind. I may have to try to drink more caffeine to like keep going. It's not really cooling off in here though. This is probably gonna be worse than go air, but get a draft going through the house. Okay. So I've got these here, which were supposed to be like basically other alternative versions of that stuff. I have to prop the door open. I have those. Let's see. Oh yeah, I remember these guys. So I had this, which is a little tricky, and then that's the opposite of that. This you have to do this way, so it's not that much different than that one up there. I seem to remember this one being a little bit different though. Yeah, that one's kind of okay. And this is another one where you have to separate it into threes, so those aren't bad. Like that one is not bad, that one's not bad. That one feels simplistic compared to like some of the earlier ones I have. It feels hard to do that without this one though. Like if I take that and I don't force this, then what can I even do there? Because I can just do it this way, I think, or that way. Can't do it that way though. So it's basically just, there's like 3 ways of doing that, or roughly. I mean, there's like, I think there's more solutions here, but 134 solutions. Yeah, most of them are just variations. But you can also just separate them this way. Kind of what I was doing there. Just making sure that you had to separate them all. Think of anything that makes that particularly good. I know this one I was trying to come up with something good, but I don't think I did. Same here, I was trying to like, I think I was trying to do like this. That's not terrible. I'm actually not sure if that's the only solution though. So that and that, which is kind of degenerate. Okay. So that's supposed to be pretty easy, and then this one's supposed to be a little trickier because you can't, you have to like separate it off. And then this one, okay. Is it? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I was just trying to cool it off in here, and the only way I could get it cooler, short of turning on the air conditioner, was just open the front door and the back door to try to like draft through. Unfortunately, the front door is like right there because the sun's going down. This is definitely the best one of these. feel like maybe I should take this and kind of turn it sideways, and then it would fit better in with like this guy. So I could do like that, and then that one down there, sideways. So I think I'll do that. Back and forth really easily between those. So there needs to be a 5 by 3. And it's basically like this. And we do this. Let's see. I disable these 3, I think. I think they're too clean. It's too clean. Alright, I'll look at that in a second. So yeah, that's kind of going through there, and then this one's supposed to be like trickier than that, because like they're not straightforward. So that could go from there to that, I think, and that would be pretty good. Or even from there to that. Although I'm starting to run down into my other panels, so maybe I should like start a new column. Oops. Not moving the puzzle panel, instead moving the other thing. Okay, so let me look at that thing. Oh, okay, so what is this guy supposed to be? Is it like supposed to be locked on or something? So it's like a 5 by 5, I think, or 4 by 4. It's locked on, and this one's locked off, maybe, and empty. Like that. I mean, you know, whatever. I guess this needs to be connected through there, probably. Feels like. Doesn't feel like I can do that, though. Maybe connect that through there. So far I like it, so I appreciate that. Unfortunately, I'm not in peak brain. I wish I was in peak brain. I'm gonna get a soda. It's always great to try to design puzzles when your brain is like not wanting to even function. It's kind of annoying. All right. But I think actually you're onto something that I was going to try but haven't tried yet, which is just locking empty tiles, right? And what I can get out of that in terms of forcing you to think something unusual. Because it's like I kind of have to connect in certain ways here. Okay. You bastard. Because you're definitely in the space of things that I'm looking for, which is like harder than this, but not like insane, not too complicated, like still relatively small panels. Especially if I can get some small panels that are hard, then that's good. This does feel hard. Like, the only thing I think is, like, obviously one of these guys has to be connected through there somehow. But I don't really know how. Like, it's either got to be that, or it's got to be, like, this. And this guy, though. This guy. Okay, so this guy's got to be, like... This is killing me. I feel like I could do this, but I have a headache right now. And it's like, I don't feel super great. It's surprisingly difficult for how little's going on. And I just... I feel like... Like, that can't be that, so that's gotta be off. Jeez. Okay. Interesting. So I wonder how many solutions there are to that. Just the one. So it's actually kind of tricky because the one that's locked doesn't connect two dots at all. It's a separator square, basically. Like, it's the corner bit, I think, is what makes that hard. I like that, though. So I do think that I will keep that. At least if you don't mind. Forces you to focus on what the bottom right connects to and it's the least relevant. I wonder why that is. Is it because there's this big open space there, and so you kind of think like, does that go to here, or does that go like up here? Yeah, well, it just connects there, right? Yeah, the obvious way is to just go straight, right? Because you wouldn't think about this. You'd think, well, I guess those are connected. But because those have to be separated, then it gets weird. Yeah, so that's good. I like that. Okay. So maybe we should try to do some other 4x4s and see if we can get something else in that area. That's like 4x4 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dots. So if I do this way, like without locking, and do the solution finder, like how many solutions does that have? 12? Okay, so that's just an inverse of that. So that's all the solutions that had. Anyway, that's interesting. If I like take out a couple more dots or something, there's like way more solutions. It's like 200 now. Three and a half. Yeah, like I don't actually have the solution finder like ignore inversions or ignore like rotations if the thing is symmetrical. 3.5. I'm not sure what you mean by 3.5. But I wonder how like useful it is to like look at something like this and be like, I don't think it's that useful to me. It's more useful for me to think about it from some standpoint of like what's something I would find interesting. But I think you're probably right that a lot of my like leading to the most intuitive thing is keeping me from some of the harder things. Because like here, the most intuitive thing is like maybe this dot is connected to that dot, right? And so like the less intuitive thing is like this dot's connected to this dot or something, right? Or like that, where that has to be there. So I'm not sure. The thing I'm not sure of is how to like force a solution like that. Oh, okay, so you just call it and a half because it's like there's like one tile similar, right? Yeah. That's what I figured. Like the one tile difference, like when there's a little play, like there's some puzzles in the Witness that are like that. My girlfriend's been playing through that, so sometimes I'll think she'll be doing one, and I'll be like, oh, this has got like 12 other solutions or something, but they're all just like what the variations are, the slight variations you could draw. So this thing you have here doesn't actually like do the solution validation, does it? It just you just can draw the puzzles out with it. Gosh, I am like, my brain is not working. So I feel like that's interesting, but I'm not actually sure that it's the most interesting thing. It feels like one way to try to force that would be this and this. Or like that. I don't know if that forces it, though. It probably doesn't. Okay, so it's got 64 solutions, so it definitely doesn't force it. I'm just amazed how many solutions there are still. I guess it's because there's so many free tiles. Like even when I lock down all these things, there's still like, here's 27 different solutions. If I lock down all the dots, there's still 21 solutions, so that's probably why. Okay. I wonder if I can do like a panel where I like don't lock any of these, but I like, what if I locked all the other ones? Now there's only one solution. So that's interesting, just to see like a panel like that where all the dots are free, but it's just the other tiles that are locked. If you just light, yeah, if I just light everything, there'll be one for sure. But that's kind of interesting, just because it's like, that's kind of the, so there's two there, which is a slight play. I'm just like wondering if when I unlock certain things, whether it affects the solution count, to see like what ones I can unlock. Okay, so if I have those locked like that, then it has to be solved that one way. If I unlock this, there's only oh, actually freed up a lot of solutions. Interesting. I don't remember what I was locking. Okay, that corner. It's actually kind of hard to just even playing with it that way find stuff. Like, it feels like that's a tricky way to do it. It is tricky, but it just feels, I don't know, it feels so forced to me. Like, I feel like I just forced it into shape. Like, I do like this being kind of surprising, and that I can't connect that to it or that to it. I like. gonna keep that panel kind of saved as it is, and then try some other things with it until I see if I find something that works. Because like if I move that up there, there's 9 solutions now. If I lock it like this, still 9 solutions. That's interesting. So what are all the 9 solutions? Okay, so that can get connected there. What if instead of locking that, I locked this? 7 solutions. If I like locked that off. Actually not sure I had saved the state of which tiles were on and off for that last panel. Which is not good, probably. Like I didn't save the starting state right. So now I gotta figure that out, because it definitely was not this. Like this, I don't believe, was the starting state. See, I know that was part of it, I think. So it had to be like that and that. Okay, so that was the starting state, was like that. Okay. Good. Just wanted to make sure that it was like correct, rather than incorrect. Ugh. Alright. Because I'm just kind of thinking about taking like if I can make it to where you have to draw that and that, then that's kind of interesting to me. But if it's just that, that's okay. But $250 solutions just to begin with. But like if I'm just locking these, there's obviously only one. This is my brain dead way of just trying to figure something out. So just doing that is enough to force this. So then the question is, like, if I put this guy on and then lock it and turn this off, what do I get? 6 solutions. 3 there. It's really it's like really non-linear, the space of, like, when I make a change, whether it increases or decreases the number of solutions. Like, if I wanted to programmatically figure it out, I could write a thing that just generates random puzzles with, like, this many dots and randomly locked tiles, and just iterate through all that, find all the solutions for all of them, and then, like, show me all the ones that have, like, 1 solution or something. But then I'm probably going to have a lot that had 1 solution because of certain factors there, but... Because, like, not connecting that way is partly interesting. So if, like, I locked those guys and turned that off, God, I still get 10 solutions. Because they don't have to get connected that way, they can get connected that way. It's so weird to me that... Did I get that many startings? Okay. Yeah, just have it generate and only show the ones that are good. That's easy. You know, because we know how to define what's good and what isn't. It's like having 1 solution is not necessarily the only thing that makes a puzzle good or not. Part of the issue is there's just like 250 different things here, right? I know for one thing this needs to get locked, because I don't want to connect to those. That definitely narrows down what I can do. So like that. I never know, like, whether I'm relying on this solution thing too much. I feel like I am. Seems like this is the thing that narrows it down the most there, though, without locking anything else. I can kind of just walk the dots there, right, to figure out, okay, what are the most important ones to lock if I'm gonna lock tiles. Try mine again, but top right locked off instead of the blank. Okay. Whenever I'm testing a puzzle with no locks, lock one tile just to eliminate inversions. So you just kind of went from a panel with relatively few solutions and just locked it to eliminate the inversion. Like, why is this panel in particular so hard? What is this? I've just never got this far in this. It's got too much, like, vocals in it. Like, this layout, for some reason, is just really tricky. I think it's because there's so many dots. Oh, I need to have the top left off. What? What? You have the top left on. Top left? You mean the top right's on? Okay. Okay. Oh. Well, I still wasn't solving it because I'm yeah, I'm not braining, so we'll take that you just made there and we'll paste it in anyway. I didn't think my brain was going to be like this, not working right now. So does it need to be like that? I don't know that it's as good either, but part of that is because you locked not like what was interesting about this one was locking the blank tile, right? But it's weird to me, like, because my natural inclination with this this panel on the right here was to try to make something with less dots that was still difficult. But it just doesn't feel like that's the case. It feels like it's just really easy with the less dots even. Feels like a pretty non-expected way to combine those. it's not that dissimilar from the other solution that I was going for either. It's interesting though, just because it's like a lit thing there. If I inverted this, we would have that. Yeah, I do think that's true too. It's like the big blank area is part of like why I think it gets so many solutions. Because like even if I lock that whole diagonal, there's still this many solutions, and that's really strange. Alright, well I can try adding more dots, I guess, to try to force this into shape a little bit. Let's see, what can I even get away with? This is even doable. Like, it's got to be doable. No, it's not. It's actually impossible. Interesting. Okay. Is that just because of this shape? Because like, there's no way I can do both of those and isolate that. If I put like another dot there and another dot there, then it would be, well, I guess I got shy on dots. Clump of dots allows too few. Left's good because of the lines of each they're formed. Couple lines, dots separated by a line of blanks plus a little checker in the corner. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Just depending on, like, if you clump a bunch of dots together, then you end up with, like, it moves towards that regular pattern of, like, when you have the whole panel full of dots. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we got the same number of dots as that. There's like 30 solutions to this. I feel like you're better at this than me anyway, Mokesmo. At just like kind of reasoning through stuff. Like if I move these around, it feels like there's a lot less solutions with that. It's just interesting that there's so few solutions. I also have to be careful because it's like I could very easily just do like a mirror inversion of something, like, because that doesn't matter. Like if I flip that horizontally and flipped it vertically, it's still the same panel, right? Okay, so this is tricky, mostly because of this cluster here. And like I'm not sure where this should go. Checkerboard in the top right. I'm not sure what you mean by the checkerboard in the top right. Like just the checkerboard by itself? Let's see, so that's one solution. Let's look at all the solutions here. Top right dot is only next to blanks, and then the blanks are only next to dots. Oh, just that it checkerboards in this corner, you think is part of what made it good? Well, I gotta take a break real quick, and I will be back in a second. Yeah. Let's see. I don't know that I found it by randomly placing dots. I guess this was something I had drawn. If I did, yeah, I kind of just randomly place dots until I find something, but like this has 10 solutions, right? Which is pretty low. So we'll just kind of copy that out. I don't know what this other one was, but we'll put that there. These things get kind of weird with the quad generation because it still wants to own the old quad. Okay, here we go. Let's see, what was I thinking? Oh yeah, okay. I wanted to, yeah, do something based on this guy. Oh, okay. I didn't even think about it, I guess. Lock a single tile when testing unlocked puzzles. Because all it does is block inversions. Okay. That's an interesting thing. I suppose that's true. So when I do, like... Let's see. So this is that unlocked. So we're going to hit this and see how many it had. So it had 12. So to begin with, it had 12. Which was pretty low. But this has 10, right? So... I guess what you're saying is, like, if I just lock one, it should always reduce it in half, the number of solutions, no matter what one I lock. That's true. So it's always going to divide whatever the solution space is in half if I lock a tile. So if I just lock this, then it divides the solution state in half. That's interesting. That's an interesting observation. Question is whether, like, whether I'm solving it to try to find, like, something interesting with it locked, or whether I do something that looks like an interesting solution and then lock it to like force it into that, I guess, is what I'm doing generally. I feel like that needs to be that. This cluster here. There's no real way to do that other than that or that in the corner. So that's 1 of 5 solutions on that one. So I'm just going to look at what the solutions are. But yeah, all of them have this in the corner because it's not a checkerboard, right? Whereas if I pulled out that and made it a checkerboard, right? Let's see. That doesn't have enough tiles, does it? I then put like one here, it has a lot more solutions than it did. Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure how many things are going to care about absolute color. Right now I have another mechanic that does. But I don't know whether it should, because it might not need to. So, seems like it was actually better before. I don't know. I don't even remember if that was saved. I guess it was. At least if I'm defining better as not having a million solutions. So there's that solution. There's that solution. That solution. That solution. Which is just a variant. So if I just lock that one, then that cuts us down to that, 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 and that. So basically, if I want to like lock it as easily as possible, I have to look for which ones have are those inversions? That looks like an inversion to me. So in both of those, this one's also the same. Should cut it down to just 2. And then I can get rid of the inversion really by locking any other tile from the solution state of one or the other. Like if I lock that, it should put it down to the 1 solution. You eliminated the other relevant one with those 2 locks. What do you mean the other relevant one? I don't know what you mean by other relevant one. I'm not even sure that this one's relevant. I keep doing this. It's because like I generate a quad for it in the editor, so let's see, 4 of those 5 are variants. You eliminated the other relevant one. Okay. So when I locked that, which was this tile, 4 of these 5 are variants. So that is an inversion of that. And that is like a variant, right? Is what you were saying. So what's the other relevant one? They all look like variants to me. Lock bottom right. Oh, geez. Yeah, they're like all variants, aren't they, on that point? Except, this guy. So if I lock that or that, then that will force this one solution, because that's the only one that's like that. Or I can just lock the top left off, and that forces one. The last one is only slightly different. Slightly different? Or do you think that I should not force the one solution? Because I felt like that was the most different one. It's kind of the most interesting one, too. It's kind of maybe more interesting to lock that, because it forces it to one, but it's an open tile. And it just seems kind of... It's different enough to where I can easily force that, because the tiles are all like this tile's all the same on every other one, and it's only different on that one. So then that leaves me with however I solve this at this point, like that. Feels like that was kind of easy. I wonder why that was so easy. Why is that so easy? I can do it this way. Or I can lock that. I feel like that's simple because it just automatically tells me that that needs to happen. And then I know that that needs to happen, so it's like not that difficult. Whereas if I do this, I know that has to be that way or that way here in the corner. And then like, it seems trickier. So I think I'll go with that for that one. I'm starting to like lose track of which of these are ones that like I've done and which ones are ones that are like in progress on something. But I suppose that's okay. I don't know if I have the starting state set up for that right, though. I need to make sure that I do that. That's always the most annoying thing, is like, I don't automatically set the starting state when you set a locked tile. I should probably do that. Like when I do this, when I'm going through and I lock one in place, like right here, those should both be off. Like I should, it doesn't matter that that's that because those aren't locked, but if I like locked one, then I should probably automatically set that into the starting state, whatever the current state of the panel is, but I don't know. So we'll just clear the starting state there because it's supposed to be cleared. Okay. So that's a bunch of things. I think for some reason I wanted to look at, see how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So those are both 10 dots, that one and this one. And those are the most interesting panels that we had. I wanted to look at variants on this guy, since we're trying to come up with ways to make it easier. So this had 12, so whatever I do locking a tile is gonna like give me, reduce me to 6, right? And so then those are whatever they are. I think the most unique one is this one of those. Is that doable here though? Yeah, so that's the solution there. So if I lock this, so when I look at these, the 12 that are even possible here, so that's an inversion. That's just a variant on that one. This one looks pretty significantly different than that one that we already did there. It's kind of a variant on it. So theoretically, if I like lock this one again, then lock that one, okay, that gives me 5 that are like that. Gives me 3 that were like this. Huh. I have to take like a longer break because my brain is just like not cooperating with me. Maybe I should take a nap and then come back and do some more. I'm going to delete this bottom one here, and we're going to take this guy and this one, I think. Hold on, let me make sure I know which one was the other really good one that we got, because we got 2 good at this size puzzles here. That one's good, and this one is good, because they only have 2 things, and they're like, this one's a little easier, and then this one's a little harder, whereas these ones are all kind of rough. They're not great, but let's see, how long have I been streaming for? 2 hours, I think. 2 hours, okay. I'm gonna take a break and just try to take a nap for a little bit, and then come back and do some more puzzle design. So I will be back in a little while. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the design help, Moxmo. You're always very helpful. I got a whole bunch of puzzles sitting around here. I still need to go down and look at some of these and reorganize those. But I will be back before too long. I'm not sure. I'll try not to lie down for too long. I'll put a timer on it. But I need to refresh my brain. So I'll be back in a little bit.